So, Steve, this is the question we've been asking throughout the course of this convention so far. What is the objective here for people who are continuing to clearly voice their displeasure about the way things have unfolded this season, this campaign season?
Yeah, well, like Sean, I mean, I couldn't get a real answer out of what is the point. I mean, obviously they're upset that Hillary Clinton became the nominee, but you know, it's as if they lost their cause. Their cause was Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders has moved on. I mean, that's what we saw over the last few days. In fact, the last couple of weeks, he endorsed Hillary Clinton a couple of weeks ago, and then tonight, as we showed earlier, he got up there and announced that she's the nominee of the party, and so that's it. Story's over. So you know, I don't know if obviously these people are not happy with Hillary Clinton. I asked this one gentleman, are you going to not vote for Hillary Clinton? You're going to vote for Donald Trump? And he said, well, I haven't made up my mind about Hillary Clinton, but I might vote third party. So I think they're still formulating what the next steps are, but I think they're just almost a little bit lost now without their leader. I mean, this is their cause for the last year, was following Senator Sanders. They thought they were onto something here. They thought they were going to get him the nomination of the Democratic Party, and that has come to an abrupt end. And now they're trying to figure out their future, but there's not a real coalescing behind a real, you know, impetus for what's next.
Mo, what do you think about all this?
Geez, well, I don't know. I was just going to say, boy, they really buried Jimmy Carter.
And Princess Leia's right there.
That Jimmy Carter speech was at 7:30.
Yes, and I saw it like sort of wait, they're playing Jimmy Carter, and he's a former president. It should have maybe a little bit more prominent, you know, role there. But you know, I was down on the floor earlier today. I spoke to a couple of people who were Bernie delegates. Same thing, Steve. I mean, you asked them, you know, are you going to support Hillary Clinton? One delegate told me, I'll support who the nominee is. And I said, all right, so if that's Hillary Clinton, will you support her? Well, she's not the nominee yet. You know, I think people are sort of looking at this and saying, look, even Senator Sanders himself has said he's going to do everything he can to help elect Hillary Clinton. The unifying factor being, you know, we have to defeat Donald Trump. That's what a lot of the Democrats are saying. That's what Senator Sanders is saying. There are some of those folks that I spoke to downstairs, down on the floor, who are sort of coming around, and it takes time. I mean, it's not something that can happen, I guess, overnight, as you can see here in some of the video that we're showing. But there hasn't been one person that we've been able to talk to today that has been able to say beyond this, what they're sort of fighting for.
It's interesting because you saw Bernie Sanders sort of work through this catharsis from the time of the end of the primaries until a couple of weeks ago when he endorsed Hillary Clinton. He got out there, he still gave speeches, he made it sound like he was still fighting this for this revolution, this political revolution, talked about the issues he wanted to talk about and to push, and then they got the platform changed. And so you saw him working through the steps of this is about to end at some point, and here's how we get to this point. And I think what you see with these passionate supporters is they're still carrying the torch. It's just that the flame is out.
Well,
so
wait a minute. Isn't the conventional wisdom that after you seal up the nomination, then you move to the center? So maybe a lot of these protesters think, okay, well, you know, if Hillary's going to tack to the middle right now, I want to slow that down as much as I can.
That's probably a lot of that. Yeah. And let's keep in mind, Tim Kaine is being nominated tomorrow, giving his acceptance speech. He's seen as somebody who's closer to the center than to their point of view. And so we'll be interesting to see if they're in this hall tomorrow night and what their reaction to Tim Kaine is.
Yeah. All right. I want to point out that after Hillary Clinton spoke, getting back to the events in the hall, she actually tweeted, and I want to show that to our viewers right now. She tweeted, this is what she said during her speech. She said, "We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet." So, you know, again, noting the historic nature of this moment and this night. I wonder, though, getting back to the question of Senator Sanders' supporters, do you think there's anything that he could say, Steve, that would help to, assuage some of the concerns? Or was that it? What we saw, was that really the sort of last attempt, really, to try and get some of that anger and that tension that people are feeling, give that signal? I'm with her. This is the way it is. This is the reality of the political world that we live in.
I mean, he's been saying it for 2 weeks. She's the person to best defeat Donald Trump. And if the idea here is to focus on defeating Donald Trump, you have to get behind her. I'm not sure what else he can say other than that. I
so
mean, that's really
beyond him now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, he's going to continue to fight for the issues that he's been fighting for, and he's going to continue to try to move the Democratic Party closer to what he believes. And so that's probably part of what they're going to continue to do. But again, he doesn't have the soapbox that he had, right? He's not running for president anymore. Linda Tran, who's with us a lot, always used to say he has the biggest microphone that he's ever had in his career, right? That's gone. We're turning down the volume on that thing now. He's just a senator, you know.
Is he going to show up here for the rest of the convention, you think?
Who, Sanders?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, why wouldn't he? I don't, you know.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty to go on. I mean, if he's supporting Hillary Clinton, you think he'd be here on Thursday night for her speech.
You think he'll campaign for her?
The suggestion is he's going to campaign for her. The question I have is he going to campaign with her, right? You know, they say he's going to be a surrogate. He's going to go out and campaign for her. I want to see how many times he's actually out with her. That'll be interesting.
What do you think that dynamic would be like, Mo, if they are together?
Oh, gosh, I mean, he's probably friendly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know.
When did you become Joe Long? The CBS This Morning producer.
Oh, this is my.
I just happened to look down.
This is my convention name. Like everybody's got a Starbucks name. I have a convention name now. It's Joe Long.
He's
What
one
is
of our
your
CBS
Starbucks
This
name?
Morning
That's what I want to
producers.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
so-
great.
Do you have a Starbucks card?
Okay, I'm going to get.
Now you're going to get Joe in trouble.
There we go. I want to
All right,
put
well,
so you can see it.
you do what you have to do to get around
You want
this,
to check? And again, there I am.
It looks just like you.
It really
I
does.
think I look like Al Capone there.
All right.
By the way, you said that Hillary Clinton is, we said, it's a big crack in the ceiling. Just, to be the resident historian here, James Buchanan was gender neutral. So we should.
One of our great presidents. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about this Howard Dean moment. So Howard Dean, who's
really
former
charming.
governor of, he has always been charming. He made a run for the presidency back in 2004. There was that moment, Steve. There was that moment that is known as the Scream, where, he was in third place at the time, but he was delivering a rally speech, and he, we're going to go here, we're going to go there.
It was his concession speech, losing Iowa.
Concession speech. And then today, he appears on the floor of the Democratic Convention. Let's play the 04 sound, and then let's play what happened tonight. That's tonight. I love watching it without the sound.
Can I also point?
This race is going to be won on the ground. And it's going to be won in Colorado and in Iowa and North Carolina and Michigan and Florida and Pennsylvania. And then we're going to the White House. You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
We always think that was the downfall of Howard Dean, but he lost. He came in a distant third in Iowa when he was expected to win. He had raised more money than anybody else, and just totally botched Iowa that night. And that was really the beginning. It was, we were talking earlier, it's like the 1986 World Series. Everybody blames Bill Buckner for losing that game, the Red Sox against the Mets, but that was just sort of the cherry on top of the poop sundae, right? It was like that game was lost by the rest of the Red Sox team, just like him losing Iowa was really the key to that downfall of Howard Dean.
All right, let's play the mashup. I'm told that the editors have been hard at work. Let's go ahead and hear the Scream again.
This race is going to be won on the ground. And it's going to be won in Colorado and in Iowa and North Carolina and Michigan and Florida and Pennsylvania. And then we're going to the White House. You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. We're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
That was a problem.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that I just noticed that. I've seen that video 100 times, but I just noticed for the first time that woman in the background. At one point, she's like,
No, show it again.
Right.
Like, do the-
she's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they're also wearing those ridiculous Iowa for Dean shirts, which I also just noticed, which was so very like early 2000s, like big letters. I don't know. I know that, where he was at the time that he delivered that speech, but it always struck me as something that many people remember Howard Dean for.
Right.
I'm glad he's moved on.
It was the exclamation
And
point
he's
on a
here.
really,
And
really
he's
bad,
here.
bad,
And
bad
he's
night
safe.
for him.
Poke fun at it himself, although, as you were pointing out, his
Can we
hair
talk about his hair?
His hair, look how great it is.
Listen, I generally
12
disapprove.
years later.
I know.
I generally disapprove of men dyeing their hair, but I think his hair looks great, actually.
Just for Men does wonders.
Could it be that he's just less stressed now?
No, he's dyeing his hair. He's coloring it.
sure
But
of
he's doing.
this?
But he's asked a
He
woman
keeps
to
a
help
little,
him with
a
it
touch of
because-
gray in there.
Touch
though.
of gray.
Well, that's probably what he's using, right? Yeah, touch of
All right.
gray.